Hello, Tim here. Welcome to Shop Talk with Tim. You know, over the years, I've done custom woodworking, and occasionally I get projects that are special requests. And when I was in business, I would have customers order. I'd have to maybe make architectural parts, and they would require special tools for the job, just like maybe router bits or things that you have to buy to get a certain job done. Well, in wood carving, you have to work with the wood the way the wood wants to be worked with. And that means sometimes you have to get special tools to do that particular thing. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to make here, but the tools I'm going to use are bent tools. Bent wood carving tools are bent for a particular reason. It's because you got to get in and clean out your cut. The wood won't cut the other way. It'll tear or something like that. You could probably do a lot of work with just a hatchet, but it's going to look like it's done with a hatchet. The special request I got from a family member was to make a bread proofing bowl. And I don't know what proofing bread means, but it's something you put your bread in to raise. And that's what I have here is an elongated bowl. And I've seen these in antique stores, small ones, and I've seen them a little bit longer than this, like 4 feet or more, big troughs. In a bygone era when everyone made their own bread, and now it's becoming popular to do that. So this was an experiment for me. And also it was kind of fun because over the years, like I said, I bought tools for specific jobs in the past, and they've been sitting idle for years. And some of those big tools that I've had for carvings, this is a wide fishtail gouge, number 6, and that refers to the sweep of the tool. This is like a number 8, and it usually can tell this one's not stamped, but it's a deeper gouge like that. And this one as well, a little smaller but the same sweep. A number 3 sweep is almost flat like a chisel, and a number 11 is like a complete U. Now, I'm not going to go into all the different kinds of tools, except for every tool sweep that's straight. And the fishtail allows you to kind of get around obstructions where this may not here, but this has limitations in trying to clean up around a curve. So I was happy to be able to use the big tools again. And what I have on this little extension table is all my bent tools. And I have a previous video where I talk about all my carving tools, and these are included in that grouping. But the bent tools are, every tool has got this has got a number 7 sweep, and you can see the 7 there. And that's, this is called a long bend gouge, and that's a number 7. And I'm not sure how this is a number 11. So that's a deeper U, and that's a long bend gouge. And this is a long bend gouge. This is like a number 5 sweep. And these are tools that I use for making this dough tray. And this is a spoon bit gouge. I had to buy that for a particular job I was working on one time to get out of a cut. And this is one of my smallest spoon gouges. And these, which I did not use on this is called a back bent gouge. So it's using it invertedly. And I had to buy that for a particular job one time to clean up something that couldn't be cut any other way. So let me start at the beginning. To make the blank for this, I started with wood like this. I chose as the bottom of this is out of the same board as this is made. This is soft maple, and this is a piece of 6/4 aspen, which color-wise is a little bit lighter, but it's still a good wood for that. These are both about 14 inches wide. And then I used, again, some soft maple. This one happens to be ash, but that's what I was going to make for the top rim to get enough depth. And you can see in some of these pictures where I cut out the aspen with a saber saw and then glued it up. So I cut an angle down in there and glued it up, and then glued on after that was done this layer here, the top layer. The thing that could have been done is get a big log and cut it in half, and that's what they used to do. That can be subject to cracking too. You see the antique ones are cracked. But getting this all prepped to this point where I'm going to start using the gouges, I wanted to do the inside first and then shape the outside. So this is about, I don't know, 7/8 or 13/16 wide, thick rather, sides. But to slope it down in there, to get along here, I used this gouge a lot. I use these bigger ones. But sometimes aspen has a tendency to be a little quirky in grain change. And so to keep pursuing one direction, sometimes it doesn't like that. So maybe I have to kind of traverse the grain, come down and cut it down like that to get it to clean up. Aspen is not my favorite wood to carve, but soft maple is a pretty good carving wood. Now this device here is a hold down fast. I have this. I used my bigger bench when I actually did the actual work on this bowl, but this will hold it for my purpose of demonstration. This will hold it good. So these, I don't know if they're that available. I think you probably still get them, but you mount a receiving kind of thing in your bench like this, and then you can use the hold down to hold your workpiece. I would prefer to have two on this, and I probably would put a clamp here if I was going to work on this one. But to hold it in place, to show you why a bent gouge is important. So I'm going to set the straight ones aside. These I used quite a bit for along the bulk of the path, because a lot of times a bent gouge, you don't want to take, you don't want to hit it. The long bend you can hit with a mallet. The short bends you never do. Like this is a spoon gouge, so I don't tap this with a mallet. This is all hand pushed or lightly bumped. Because one time I took one of these spoon bit gouges, probably about this size here, and I broke it. And I reforged it into a different tool. But so you don't want to do that, like especially like this one here. It's not designed to be struck. So this one became particularly useful in the final cleanup, like around here. So I can't get a straight gouge down at the bottom because the handle's in the way. So coming around the corners and cleaning up, this is where the bent tools are essential. Now this is more for roughing out, and for smoothing out, this is what really works good. Now when I was doing the initial roughing out, this was my go-to one, but this gets a little big toward the end, and because of the sweep, I'm going to take too much curve inside there. But you can clean up with this as well. It's just when I got down to the side meets the bottom, I wanted a smaller radius one, and that's where this one came in quite handy for that, to get that transition. But it's not very good for going along the side. This would take a long time to use just the small tools to carve it out. So sometimes you just have, because I've collected these over the years for different jobs, I feel fortunate to be able to go back to them, and sometimes you end up working with the one that's the sharpest. This one needs to be touched up. I can tell, yeah, it's got a little, I didn't use this one on this project, but this needs to be tuned up a little bit. So that's the long bend and short bend bent tools, and very essential for relief carving and things that you need to have access to clean up. The outside of your bowl, when I came to that was a different story. So I didn't use carving tools as much as I did using planes. So I used planes to round this, and I used a draw knife. The draw knife would be of no use, and you couldn't use it inside. So I used a draw knife, I used a plane, and then a spoke shave. Some of it I think I even used a rasp around some of the bend there. But anyway, that's the bottom. I put my mark in there. So this is left the tool marks in here. I'm not putting any finish on this, so I don't know if the user is going to put oil or whatever. I don't recommend anything that would be like olive oil or vegetable oil, because that can get rancid over time. But if you keep washing it out like it's designed to be lightly, you don't soak it or anything, but it'll keep clean. And these areas here, I mixed a little filler with some epoxy just to fill the knots, and that's it. That's the dough bowl. And I'm very pleased with it. So I can't wait to get some bread out of the deal here. So it's homemade bread. There's nothing like it. So anyway, that's my my long bend, short bend gouge story. Why I use them on this, and I'll feature them in other upcoming projects. But it's such an essential tool, and you don't need all of them. You just need whatever the tool. The project kind of tells you what you need to do to get it done. Now there's ways you could do all by machine, but what's the point of that? This is all hand work, and totally enjoyable for me and for those that like to do hand work. So good luck in finding tools if you're interested. Thanks for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you would, and please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.